All right, we are back. The lobby is set up. Sorry again for all of the downtime. Been working through some computer difficulties we've been having. Now we are going into game number 2 of Puck versus Gametime on Coda.
On Coda. So hopefully we've got those resolved and there shouldn't be as much downtime between the next couple of matches.
Everything's been going along pretty smoothly. The bracket's moving along. If you put exclamation point bracket in the chat, you will see the updated bracket. I'm not exactly sure what matches we're going to be having next on stage, but should be pretty good either way. Now moving on into map Coda in the lower right-hand corner. It is the yellow Zerg. It is Gametime.
And in the top left-hand corner, the purple Protoss, it is Puck.
Yeah, Puck's been saying he's been having some FPS issues, and he's understandably been a little bit frustrated. But I'm wondering how that is going to affect his play here now. Is he going to do something more standard, or is he maybe going to be a little bit more aggressive and try and get out before Gametime can really get anything too established? We will have to see. Gametime, I mean, last game he really wanted to get ahead of Puck. But he ended up staying fairly even and then eventually getting behind because Puck ended up getting his third base. And both players kind of went after each other's third bases right out the gates there. But Gametime losing his was definitely more hurtful than Puck because, as we know, two-base Protoss is still a pretty formidable Protoss.
Indeed.
But Gametime was able to pull it together. I mean, he just had the meat and potatoes of the army. He had the roaches, and Puck had a little bit more tech-heavy army with the Blink Stalkers. Yep. And he was just ended up able to muscle his way in there. And as the score stands, it is 1-0 in favor of Gametime, as he's going to come up here with a drone and do some scouting. Yeah,
I mean, Gametime used those burrowed roaches last time to kind of get some positioning on his opponent, and that helped him out quite a bit against that tech army, as you were talking about. But now looks like Gametime trying to deny this Nexus for a little bit longer and frustrate Puck a little bit.
Yeah, Puck is really trying to get his natural expansion on here. Drone giving everything he's got to try and delay that, and he's going to get out before he ends up losing his life. Puck going to get his natural expansion down, as well as Gametime.
So both players expanding, both players droning, or...
Aha, yes, the Protoss is droning like a madman.
Yes.
But, Puck has, at least in the first game here, we've seen him keep a fairly even base count with his opponent. Now just getting gas after expanding. Gateway is going down. And here comes the third hatchery from Gametime. So it looks like he's going to do something fairly similar. He did stay gasless for quite a long time last game as well, getting a large number of lings out, which was, it was pretty fruitful, although he didn't really get a lot done with them right away, but he kind of kept Puck back in his base.
Yep. And I think that's what he was trying to do, is just, get some scouting information, get some pressure on, and that's what he was successful with. But this time, it looks like our pool is only about half done now, so it's going to be a little bit longer before there's any units. But neither player is really trying to get any fast army.
Yeah, Puck was on the right page there in the last game. Towards the end, he got the Warp Prism out and 4 Zealots going around, and they were kind of wrecked on Gametime pretty good there, but Gametime was already pretty established in his army that was out in front of Puck's base. But if he can kind of go with that and keep Gametime busy and keep him looking at different places, I think he will probably be pretty successful this game, but we will see. So far, looking pretty consistent with the last game. Stalker starting to come out here from Puck. Warpgate just started as well. Looking at the units count, is 28 now probes for Puck and 25 drones for Gametime. So he's actually a little bit behind in the worker department, but he is now producing some lings.
Yeah, he got the 3 hatch before pool, and now he's just getting those queens. So I mean, he's kind of been limited a little bit on his larva, which I think is part of the reason why his drones are not quite as up there. But I think he starts to focus on that a little bit more. Those will pop right up. We see a bunch more popping as we speak.
Drones are on the way, 3 at a time here for Gametime. Now starting to spread the creep around. He didn't really get that much creep out last game. I think Puck kept him a little too busy for that. He had some zealots around that really prevented those creep tumors from coming down. But now Puck is going to be moving across the map here with a Stalker to put some harassment on these lings. Same thing he did last time. Really kept those early game lings at bay a bit. But unfortunately, he's not going to be able to stand up against the Queen and the Zerglings.
No, but Gametime's got to be careful or he's going to lose both of those legs.
Queen did get a bit off creep there, now spreading it out. Looks like Puck is going to be adding 3 more gateways here as he moves into the late stages of the early game. The Stalker now sees the creep receding out of the third base, which is just beginning to get into production. Queen is going to come out and poke away at that Stalker a bit. Second Stalker coming down now for Puck. He wants to try and keep Gametime in his base as much as possible here and not let those initial lings out.
Forward pylon just finishing up for Puck. Looks like he's getting ready to do some aggression here.
Third base coming down now for Puck as well, so a longer macro-style game coming from both players. I am expecting the same type of roach play here from Gametime, and I'm interested to see what Puck does to sort of head that off this time. He's getting Zergling speed now in his main base. However, Puck did get the Robos going there towards the end there and did get a couple of Mortals out. And it was just kind of some rough positioning that ended up spelling the end for those Mortals. But if he could have been in a different spot with the number of sentries he had and energy, it may have gone different. This map may be a little bit better set up for that. The choke at the natural expansion on the last was kind of what spelled the end there.
So Puck getting his army put together, bringing the Mothership Core down to try and get some scouting done and a little bit of harassment on what it can pick off. The Stalkers making their way back down as well.
Yes, indeed. That Mothership Core trying to stop a little bit of creep there, but I don't think he was able to get in to get that creep to him. Where Puck here now has a pylon going in the front, so he is going to be wanting to take out that third base again. The only difference this time is that Gametime does not really have the force he did at this point in the game last time to put the pressure on the third. Roaches are now half done, 7 in production. Metabolic Boost just finishing up. Stalkers coming into the third base of Gametime.
And it looks like he may end up losing this base again this game, but the difference is he's not going to be able to put the same type of pressure on as he was the first time.
He does have that Mothership Core there too, so as soon as things start to look a little sticky, he's going to go ahead and recall out, but until then he's going to get done as much damage as he possibly can. Roach is now coming in. Nice force fields there. We're not quite able to trap them in like he wanted, but those Zealots now are going to do some face planting with those Roaches.
They're getting up close and personal there. More Roaches coming in, trying to deal with this. The drones, rather, are surrounding what they can. And, wow, actually, I mean, tons and tons of worker kills, but that base remains.
12 drones killed here for Puck against Gametime. 2 more Zealots kind of coming in that missed the memo to head back home. Now, this is that was a really good push by Puck there, and I think he got himself way ahead. Now, Gametime is going to be moving out across the map as he did, so Puck really needs to set up his third base here so that he can kind of hold that this time and not have it taken out. But he is looking a lot better. He does have his Stalkers. He's got a lot of sentries, but still not a ton of army. Looking at the army value, it is quite in favor of Gametime with 2250 to 1150 mineral resources in units. Missile attacks level 1 is finishing up here now for Gametime. Oh, Gallegation.
All right.
Gallegation is going to be dropping out.
Game paused. Game resumed.
Gallegation ended up dropping out of the game, but we're still here. He's going to be looking over my shoulder here. But Roach is moving into the natural base here to see what kind of defenses there are. Mothership Core is there and a couple cannons. So now Gametime going to maybe second guess that now as the army of Puck is looking a bit more formidable with the Immortal on the field. And Blink now coming down as well.
But it looks like that Gametime is still going to try and go on the offensive somewhat there. It looks like he's splitting up now.
He's trying to decide what to do. I mean, this pylon is still here, which Gametime cannot see, but Puck is going to see.
He was trying to look for it, I think. He's
staying just outside the range of the. But he's going to see now the Roach is moving around, so be fairly confident that he's not going to be seeing any major pressure right away. But Hydralisk now going to be added to the field for Gametime. Warp Prism in production for Puck, so it looks like he's going to be getting on some of the harassment action that he did in the last game. Puck did have 1 Scouting Phoenix, so he does know that Hydralisks are in the field. Now Puck is looking like he's got a pretty formidable army here. Supply 176 to 27 as it looks like, oh, the Warp Prism does get taken out. Nice force fields. They're going to pinch off a good number of these Roaches for absolutely free. Those force fields are going to be clutch for Puck in this army against Gametime as He's kind of sticking close to these ramps here to be able to do that, and he's saved up quite a bit of energy on these sentries, but he does not want to extend himself too much. Gametime getting close to 200 supply, and this Roach Hydra army is looking pretty nasty.
Yeah, it's continues streaming across the map, and it looks like he's trying to, he fakes a couple of those force fields. Only loses 2 Roaches.
Upgrades are looking like +1 ranged for Gametime and +1 for Puck, so the upgrades kind of even here, but the army supply is very high for Gametime. He's moving in, and this is going to catch Puck a little bit off guard. He's going to be off to the cutoff to the left, and oh, he's going to lose a bit of stocks here. Nice. Force Field's able to get a few more Roaches, but Gametime just going to move right on up to do that damage.
Yeah, takes out another observer, really trying to take out the vision of Puck as he's making this push forward, but Puck again doing these little poking moves.
At the same time, Puck down at the third base of Gametime, taking out that. So if Puck can maintain this at all, he will be looking okay. But the third base of Puck does go down rapidly. But now Gametime is going to be in a position where he is not going to be able to come towards the natural with the sentries and force fields of Puck. And Puck is going to try and swing around to catch as much of this off guard. If he gets some sentries down, some force fields down on that ramp,
he's got to be real careful. He doesn't want to lead with those Hydras against this army if he can avoid it.
Yeah. This is a bit of a dance here. Nice little blink around. The army of Puck is looking a bit more substantial here, but now nice concave for Gametime coming in against Puck. Force fields going down, trying to stop the advance of the Zerg units. Nice blinks moving the Stalkers back. He's getting quite a bit of damage done now against Gametime.
Yeah, those Hydras were mostly in the front there, kind of zoning out the Roaches a lot of the time there.
The supply 188 to 141, so the differential is closing just a bit. Now Colossus on the field. That is going to be good news for Puck with those Hydralisks on the field for Gametime, but he's got to be careful. Gametime just keeps trying to get that nice concave going. Has not been too successful yet, but those sentries are running low on energy, and that is going to be rough for our Protoss player here, Puck, but the Colossus still going to be able to poke at those units while they are at the bottom of the ramp. Puck continuing as well to put on pressure down here in the bases of Gametime, so that is going to split his attention.
Yeah, that forward pylon still was not found, and it is still paying dividends. Did not cancel that, and so that's 300 minerals down the drain.
Yeah, Gametime is really split now on what he wants to do. Literally, as he's splitting his army, running back home, trying to decide whether to defend, whether to push, but now his supply getting back towards 200. 2 Colossus on the field now. The army of Gametime is split up. This could be a good opportunity for Puck, but Gametime realizes it and goes ahead and pulls back. Wants to get his army back together.
And continuing to just stream the reinforcements all over the place. He is really kind of hedging his bets here in this forward position.
Yeah, Gametime does have to be pretty careful here now with the force fields and Colossus. The positioning is going to be everything here. Gametime just trying to move on up. There is a Colossus coming down the ramp with the natural expansion for Puck. These Hydralisks are getting absolutely roasted here, but Gametime keeps on moving right on up.
Oh my goodness. You got one of those Colossus down, I think, but oh my goodness, that whole army is gone.
The tech advantage now swinging heavily in the favor of Puck with the Colossus on the field, with the Immortals. The Hydralisk Roach army quickly becoming obsolete for Gametime. And that's also rough because he has not managed to keep his third base still being produced, while the third base of Puck was taken out, but still has been now back in action for quite a while. Burrow Roach is going to burrow there to heal themselves back up. Puck moving back into the third base. He is not giving up that third base. The absolute clutch victory here for him could be taking this out again. Does not look like he's going to get it as the Roaches move on back in.
He's getting as many hits off as he can. Oh, he doesn't.
Almost gets it down, but that pylon is still there. Gametime is now getting very suspicious and wondering what's going on. Does he even know that's there? He has no idea that that pylon is there. So that has paid dividends repeatedly for Puck. But now the Overseers are going to come down and cut that out. Three Colossus on the field for Puck, plus 3 attack. Plus 2 coming down for Puck, so he is going to be looking good with his army here.
So Gametime putting down that 4th base now, trying to keep that base advantage off Puck, but Puck continues to put on this pressure, and it looks like these armies are going to meet once again in the middle. Puck looking to do some damage with those Colossi.
Yeah, supply is getting more and more in Puck's favor, 148 to 68, but the tech advantage there now. Gametime largely stuck on... Oh, but he's going to try and be sneaky. Puck is going to see right through this, though, seeing the the little shadows of the burrowed roaches there, trying to sneak up underneath those Colossus. So looking at the units now, it is going to be 53 roaches on the field, which, man, I don't know. It's Gametime's got to move into something else, but he's just really pinned in because this third base is just kind of hanging by a thread here. One warp into Zealots would finish that up. The fourth base just now getting some drones. And Puck, meanwhile, is continuing to stack up his army. It's 200, 162 supply now. Gametime going to be moving across the field. Both players kind of stuck out here in the open. Puck going to be moving up to the higher ground for that better position.
Yeah, and Gametime's really just, trying to brute force his way around here, using those roaches to soak up damage from the Colossi and try and deal with these Blink Stalkers. Trying to get that good concave, but taking a lot of hits while trying to position himself. And there's the burrow. That Observer's still allowing vision, and he is taking heavy losses as he's moving, and really just trying to continue to maintain decent position here.
He's trying to sneak himself up here to get a good position on these Colossus, but there is just not going to happen right now with the Stalkers. If he does do another blink, the sentries will be exposed, but nice force fields. Observers allowing so many free shots as those roaches burrow underneath those force fields.
And Gametime continues to move forward, but there it is. There's the GG. So Puck evens it up 1-1.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Gametime was just stuck on old tech for a really long time. Puck did a great job. As I said in the beginning of the match, the thing that's going to really turn it for him is going to be able to continue the harassment on the third base, which he did. As I had my keys backwards. He really kept up the harassment, and that was the big thing, and that was really pulling Gametime's attention back and forth.
Yeah.
So we're going to try and not take too long of a break here. We're just going to try and go right on into game number 3. So just a